Today we're going to learn about how the ancient Egyptians treated people after they died. And so the title of our article is called Funeral Rites. If you go down to our vocabulary, a rite is a religious act or ceremony. So when someone died in ancient Egypt, there were several religious ceremonies that needed to take place. And by the end of today, we're going to be able to explain these different ceremonies, and we're going to make an inference about what ancient Egyptians valued or what was most important to them. Our next vocabulary word is deceased. That's another word for a dead person. And then the third word is afterlife, and that is a belief about what happens to you after you die. And so we're really going to focus on what the ancient Egyptians believed happened to people after they died. Before we get started reading, go ahead and complete the quick write. It says, what did you learn about ancient Egypt from the gallery walk? The gallery walk is when we walked around and we wrote down what we noticed and what we wondered about the pictures from ancient Egypt. Press pause to write 3 to 4 sentences and play when you're ready to start reading. So you need to have your text out beside you that says funeral rites, and you need to have your notes on the other side, so they should be right in front of you, and have your pencil in your hand so you're ready to underline quotes from the text that answer each of the questions. So we'll start reading Funeral Rites, the importance of preparation and judgment. Human beings had a body which cast a shadow and was named at birth. The ancient Egyptians believed that at birth the Ka came into existence too. The Ka was a replica of the body, but without physical form. Humans also had a Ba. The Ba encompassed the personal power of an individual, almost like a personality, spiritual in nature. Our first question asks us, according to the author, what's the difference between the Ba and the Ka? If I go back in the first paragraph, I learned that the Ka is a replica of the body but without physical form. So the Ka is like your spirit. So for number 1, write the Ka is like your spirit. And make sure you have this sentence underlined in the text. And then it says humans also had a Ba. The Ba encompassed the personal power of an individual, like a personality. And so, for the second sentence in number 1, write, the Ba was your personality. So, the Ka is your spirit. It's a replica of your body, but it's a spirit. And the Ba is your personality. Press pause to silently write down your answer. All right, let's keep reading. Second paragraph. The name of a person was important in life. Witness how Aset gained Ra's powers by learning his secret name. So we haven't read that story yet. That will be next week. And after death. So they think a person is important in life and after death. That was the important part, okay? The living needed to remember a deceased person's name for that person to prosper in the afterlife. Prosper means to do well or like to have a good life. So people who were living needed to remember the dead person's name so that the dead person could be successful in their afterlife. So names were inscribed outside tombs. Inside tombs, names were on coffins. Inside coffins, names were on personal items. Often statues or carvings or paintings of the person would be at the tomb with the name displayed. So go to box 2. Why did the ancient Egyptians think a person's name was important? Well, if we go back in our text, it says, right here in the second paragraph, underline this, the living needed to remember a deceased person's name for that person to prosper in the afterlife. So it was important to remember someone's name so that they would have a good afterlife. Silently write that down for 2A. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 2B. Then it says, how did the ancient Egyptians demonstrate that they thought a person's name was important? Well, we know that they wrote the name outside of tombs, they put their name on coffins, they put their name on personal items inside the coffins, and often wrote their names on paintings that were also inside the tombs. So silently write down your answer for 2B. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to get started. Third paragraph. At death, the Ka and Ba separated from the body, but they needed to be reunited with it quickly because it was their physical abode. Abode is another word for home. So when a person died, the Egyptians believed the Ka went in one direction and the Ba went in one direction outside of the body. But they needed to do something so that they could be reunited with the body. The Ka, being the body's double, which is another way of saying it looked just like the body except you couldn't touch it. It was like a ghost. Also needed to be fed. People put food in tombs for the Ka to eat, and in this way to nourish the corpse, which is another word for a dead person, the Ka's home. The Ba shared that home, but it was free to move around unrestricted, as a different mode for the individual to continue existing. It empowered the dead to leave the tomb and travel in a spiritual sense so long as they returned to the body each night. So the Ka was like the body's ghost, the person's ghost, and it lived inside the dead body. The Ba was like the person's personality, and it could also leave the body and come back. But they both needed food, and they both needed to return home each night. Go to question number 3. Why did the Egyptians put food inside the tombs of the deceased? If we go back, our text says in paragraph 3, the Ka, being the body's double, also needed to be fed. That's why. So people put food inside the tombs for the Ka to eat and to nourish the corpse. So Egyptians put food inside the tombs to feed the Ka and to nourish the corpse. Silently write down your answer. Press pause if you need to, and then play when you're ready to begin. 4A says, what are 2 effects of dying that the Egyptians believed in? Let's see. Well, they believed that a person would prosper in the afterlife. That's effect number 1 from paragraph 2. And they also believed that the Ka and Ba needed food in order to keep living. So they also believed the Ka and Ba needed food because they were still alive even after the body died. And then you have enough time to write your paragraph. It says, how did Egyptians respond to death? So what are some things Egyptians did after someone died? Make sure you have quotes from the text to support your answer.